You finished Little Nightmares 3 and you felt sad about Alone disappearing, which is exactly what the Spiral wanted. Because Secrets of the Spiral DLC exists specifically because Lo felt the same way. He's going back in. The post-credit scene basically confirms it. Broken mirror on the floor, a lone doll sitting nearby, Lo working on fixing it. A child voluntarily rebuilding the door into a dimension that just spent 4 chapters trying to consume him because he misses his friend. And now there are 2 new chapters of DLC coming that promise hidden secrets and unexpected horrors and new perspectives on a world we thought we understood. The Spiral didn't lose Lo, it gave him a reason to return. So today, we're breaking down what those secrets probably are and why the DLC is less of a new story and more of the ending the main game was always building toward. Now, let's go ahead and start with the Spiral itself, because most people played through it like it was a theme park. 4 levels, 4 bosses, credits roll, you close the game, and you're done. But here's what you walked right past. Every single location in the Spiral is decaying in a very specific direction. The Necropolis isn't just a dead city sitting in a desert for vibes. I mean, look at the background the next time you play. There are petrified figures frozen mid-movement throughout the whole chapter. Like something just reached over and hit pause on an entire civilization. And above them, giant mechanical claws dropping waste from somewhere higher up, raining down on what used to be a living, functioning world. Now, this didn't happen naturally. Something drained the Necropolis, consumed everything worth consuming, and left the shell standing so it still looks like a place where things are fine. Which is honestly a bit more disturbing than just burning it down. Then you hit the candy factory and meet the herd. These bloated worker creatures being transported on conveyor belts like they're the product, not the employees. And here's the thing that should bother you more than the supervisor. They look content. Whatever the Spiral did to them, they don't remember that anything is missing. They aren't enslaved, they're just expressionless. And then the carnival, which floats above everything on a wooden airship because the Spiral apparently has a flair for the dramatic, has an audience in those seats. And those audience members, the blank-faced herd sitting there watching the performances, they look exactly like the guests from Little Nightmares 1. Same hollow eyes, same mindless consumption, same complete absence of anyone being home. The Spiral didn't invent new broken people for Little Nightmares 3. It reused the template. It took the same corrupted human shape and just redeployed it across 4 different locations like it was copy-pasting NPCs. Which means the Nowhere has been running this exact system for a very, very long time. But then you get to the Institute, and this is where the background story stops being creepy and starts being personal. Because the Institute doesn't just look like a spooky hospital. It looks exactly like the building from Lo's memories. So either that's a visual coincidence, which, just no, or the Spiral reached directly into this child's worst trauma and built an entire chapter out of it. The Spiral didn't just trap Lo. It studied him first. It pulled out the most specific memories that broke him the most and said, yeah, let's make that a level. I mean, that's the world you've been casually jogging through. Not just some random nightmare dimension, but a custom-built nightmare dimension, designed specifically around one scared kid with a doll. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and talk about how these two actually move through the Spiral. Lo can travel through mirrors, but every single time Alone travels through a mirror with him, the mirror shatters. The first time it happens, you think it's a scripted moment. The second time, you think it's a character detail. But by the 4th time this happens, you should be sitting up straight going, okay, wait, why does the mirror break when she goes through? Well, here's the answer that nobody wants. Mirrors and TVs in Little Nightmares are not just reflective surfaces. They are infrastructure. In Little Nightmares 2, the Thin Man used TV sets to travel. Six and Mono would travel through them together. The entire connected nightmare world of the Nowhere runs on mirror logic. The infrastructure has rules about what's allowed to use it. Alone isn't supposed to exist in this space. She's not a real child trapped in the spiral. She's a projection of Lo's mind. A coping mechanism that he built while locked in that padded room, hiding from the shadow outside his door. Completely alone with nothing but a doll and whatever imagination could give him. He made her. She's his. And every time she tries to use the spiral's actual architecture, the mirrors, the system, rejects her. The mirror breaks because the Nowhere doesn't recognize her as a valid entity. She's running on hardware that she wasn't built for. But, and this is the part that kept me up, she keeps coming back anyway. Lo pulls her through, and she's unconscious for a few seconds after every mirror. Then she wakes up. She's fine, which means the spiral is tolerating something that it technically shouldn't allow in the first place. And the spiral doesn't tolerate things without reason. So here's the theory. The Sounds of Nightmares podcast, which is canon, go listen to it, establishes that the Nowhere feeds on children's fear and loneliness. It's not just some place where bad things happen to kids. It's a machine that runs on what kids feel. Alone isn't just Lo's comfort, she's his single biggest source of dread. His loneliness created her. His terror of losing her keeps her going. Every time he grabs her hand tighter, every time he pulls her through a broken mirror, every time he looks over to make sure she's still there, he's generating exactly the kind of emotional fuel that the spiral was built to harvest. The Nowhere didn't accidentally trap two kids. It specifically wanted the one kid whose coping mechanism produces double the nightmare output. You get the hope of connection and the anticipation of loss. That's really not a glitch in the system. I mean, that's a premier feature. Okay, so now that you know the world is a personalized consumption engine, let's talk about who's running it. Monster Baby. Big, scary thing. Avoid her, keep moving. But look at what she's actually doing with the people that she petrifies. She isn't eating them, she's not destroying them. She's freezing them in place and leaving them there. The Necropolis is full of stone figures mid-step, mid-reach, whatever they were doing when she found them. Monster Baby is not a predator. She's a preservation system. The spiral doesn't want to destroy what it catches. It wants to keep it, to freeze it at peak emotional intensity and add it to the collection forever. Which means she's really not the threat. She's just the filing process. Then there's the supervisor at the candy factory. She only loses it and attacks Lo and Alone when they start breaking things and cutting the camera feeds. She's not really hunting them for fun. She's a middle manager who's had her KPIs disrupted. Lo and Alone aren't prey in the candy factory. They're a maintenance issue. And there is a difference. The kin at the carnival is the one that really got me though. He captures children and forces them to perform circus acts, which feeds the herd's need for consumption, which keeps the herd passive and in their seats, which keeps the whole performance running, which feeds the spiral. Lo and Alone walk into the carnival and the kin immediately tries to add them to the roster. Because, well, of course he does. Two kids, one of whom shouldn't technically exist, producing nightmare fuel at an industrial rate? I mean, that's a pretty good headliner act right there. And then the hypnotist at the Institute. He sees everything he touches. He's not chasing Lo because he's hungry. He's accessing him, reading the memories directly through contact. The Institute is a filing system for broken children, and the hypnotist is the archivist. Lo is the file he's been waiting for. Every monster in this game is a different department in the same machine, and Lo and Alone just walk through all of them on their way to the exit. Which brings us to the exit. and why it might not actually be an exit. The ending. Lo and Alone find the mirror from Lo's dream, the one he's been searching for the entire game, right there at the end of the Institute. Alone refuses to go through it. The hypnotist attacks, they fight back together, collapse the building, and Lo pulls Alone through the mirror. The mirror breaks. Alone gets ejected. She looks at herself, like really looks as if she's seeing something for the first time. And then she's just gone. Clothes on the ground, drawing left behind. Now, most people read this as Lo escapes, Alone was imaginary and couldn't follow, sad but logical, end of story. But there is one detail in those final seconds that almost nobody mentions. The drawing she leaves behind. It shows Lo and Alone standing somewhere that doesn't look like anywhere in the game. It's peaceful, a place that seems to exist entirely outside the spiral. And she left it intentionally. She had the drawing the whole game. Lo threw it away in frustration during the carnival and she picked it back up. She kept it. She left it behind deliberately when she disappeared. I mean, that's not a goodbye. It's a forwarding address. Now, cut to the post-credit scene. Lo is in a room with the window from his dream, trying to repair a shattered mirror. The Alone doll sitting right next to him. He's not sitting in the corner grieving. He's working. He's trying to fix the door back in. Which means the DLC, Secrets of the Spiral, is almost certainly not about Lo finally being free. It's about him going back. Because, well, here's the cold reading of that post-credit scene. The spiral let him out, showed him the window, let him feel the relief of escape, made sure he had a reason to miss what he left behind. Because a kid who willingly walks back into the nightmare is infinitely more valuable than one you have to chase. The ferryman costumes that come with the DLC? Well, the ferryman is the entity that transports children across the nowhere. If Lo and Alone are dressing as the ferryman, they're not passengers anymore. Something changed on the other side of that broken mirror. And whatever it was, it's what the first chapter of Secrets of the Spiral is built around. I don't know what they found, but I'm already stressed about it. Anyway, be sure to drop your theories down in the comments below. I mean, do you think Alone is actually gone, or is she still in there somewhere on the other side of the broken mirror? Subscribe so you don't miss out on our breakdowns when Secrets of the Spiral actually drops, because I've got a feeling we're gonna need a debrief.